Hello there, I'm Gildart Jackson, and today on Fireside Reading we read the penultimate chapter of David Copperfield. One more chapter to go tomorrow. Today it was chapter 63. So beautiful. He's written such a lovely book, and every time he ties up a loose end, there's another one. And today it was that 10 years later, when David and Agnes have been married for 10 years, they have 3 children. He's vastly successful as a writer. They live in London. There's a knock on the door, and in gets shown Mr. Peggotty, 10 years older, hale and hearty, but an old man now. And he tells them the stories from the other side of the world. He recently arrived to see David and Agnes together because he promised himself he would do that one more time at least. He tells them that Emily and he have been prosperous. She's not married, she has no interest in that, but they live together now in a small town, although they did a lot of sheep farming and working the land before that. And whilst they were doing that, Martha, the girl who had a torrid time in England but went with them, got married to a farm hand, and lives in the neighboring farm 400 miles away. Mrs. Gummidge got offered a hand in marriage, and her response was to put a bucket over the head of the person who offered. She's stayed with them. She is an eternal help and has never been lone and lorn since. And finally, Mr. Micawber has been successful and is now a magistrate of that village. He's worked hard throughout these years, and he's become a magistrate. And he opens up a newspaper, the local, I think it's Port Middlebury newspaper, that seems to be completely written by Mr. Micawber, in which there is talk of a dinner in his honor where he is honored as the magistrate. Also happening to be there is a Dr. Mell, who, if we remember back to David's schooling at the awful Mr. Creakle's school, there was one nice master, and this was Mr. Mell, who is now evidently gone to Australia and is a successful teacher with a school of his own. Dr. Mell honors Wilkins Micawber. The young Wilkins Micawber sings a song. Mrs. Micawber makes a speech. And then Micawber says in a letter to David how honored he is to have been friends with a man who has been so successful and has pleased so many people across the globe as David has with his books. It's a beautiful wrap-up, and ultimately David says goodbye to Mr. Peggotty, but before he does that, he takes him to Ham's grave, and Mr. Peggotty picks up a piece of dirt and a blade of grass from the grave and puts it in his pocket and says that it's for Emily. So much of this book is so beautiful. 1 chapter more to go. We read that tomorrow at the same time and place, 5 Pacific at Fireside Reading on Instagram Live. All the chapters uploaded to the YouTube channel, Fireside Reading. Please join us tomorrow for the last day.